Oops. Forgot to put the correct title card up. We're actually just getting started. We're not wrapping up. In case there was any confusion about that. All right. Hello, hello. It's another fine day here. This is not the title card I was attempting to transition to. Here we go. All right. Welcome to episode 99. It's the very last 2-digit episode we'll ever have, so it's kind of scary in a way, but it's also exciting. All right, we're going to pick up our work on our ECS. Yesterday, at the end, we were kind of grappling with how we were going to, how we were going to copy over. Hey, Fox Shadow, how's it going? Welcome back. Hopefully the frame, the FPS and everything's back to normal. It means we're back to a normal latency, which is unfortunate, but hopefully everything else is good. So what we were dealing with yesterday was this issue of needing, we can't do this, we can't call the span, we can't get the span from the chunk collection by its type because we don't know what type this is. For this purpose, we don't know, because at this stage we're just copying information over from all the chunks that contain information for this specific entity, because we're moving this entity to a new archetype. So we need to move it out of the old one. So we need to go through and we need to copy all of their information. So unlike, say, adding a component of type T, we know what type that is, so we can just do that. This, we need to copy over all of the chunks. Hey, Adagon. Thank you for the hydrate. So we struggled with this idea for a minute, since we're using generics, and this T is not the same T here, but I think we're going to do something kind of crazy to solve this. Because all of the chunks are just bytes, are just collections of bytes, which we then use our definitive type to cast that to a span of the particular struct that we're actually using. Since we just need to copy over the information and we know the size of the item, we have item count here. We should probably have item size. I guess we know that in the collection. The collection has max items per chunk. We should probably save item size somewhere like here. Well, yeah, we should save item size here because each component will have its own. Because max items per chunk is different than item size. Yeah, and then if we do that, if we do this correctly, we should be able to just transfer the information in its byte form over to the new chunk. And then when we actually need to use it, we can, you know, get its type-specific span. So that's a little crazy. We're probably going to build a test for this, just so I can convince myself that it's going to work. Should be straightforward, but you know, nothing's ever truly straightforward when you're like moving things around in a way that's not type safe. Yeah, so smiley day to me, kind sir. Thank you. Thank you, the Crimson Messiah. Welcome in. It's a public integer. We'll say item size. Is this C++? No, it's C#, which is kind of why what we're trying to do here is kind of not the best. Hey, you know, new schedule? Yes. We're streaming later now. Eventually we'll be streaming longer, but it's kind of, I'm kind of working my way up to it. So we'll probably still have similarly length streams of like 2.5 hours, but I'm going to work my way up to a longer stream till we're getting to like 3 to 4 hour streams. But this is our first week at our new schedule. No, we're working in C#, the Crimson Messiah. We're actually working in Godot for this project. So we're using C# and Godot. I think for what we're trying to do, it would be better to do this in C++, but for our ECS here. But for as uncomfortable as I am with C#, I'm more uncomfortable with C++. I would need to do a lot of learning. I would need to do a lot more learning than what I'm currently doing here. But, you know, honestly, that probably would have been the better thing to do. But we're going to make it work for now. So what we're going to try to do today is make a test for moving stuff around in its byte form. And then we're going to see, you know, if we can do that in a way that we can just move it around in byte form and then reinterpret it into its specific struct that it is actually, and then make sure we don't corrupt anything, like make sure it's still readable. So we'll look at how to construct that here, and then we'll make a little test for it. Just make sure we're not going crazy here. You're making your own ECS. Hey, Kuvi man. Yeah, I don't know why. It's not a good idea or a good use of my time. But I'm kind of just doing it. We're starting out here. Doing this in C# is really stupid, because it's like a memory managed language, and I'm over here. We've got like chunks of memory of just byte that we're passing around that we then reinterpret. So we're just allocating. Right now, the memory is backed by managed memory. It could eventually be unmanaged memory, so we could make this change, which is kind of why I chose memory, so that it doesn't really care what it is under the hood at the moment. But yeah, right now we're kind of doing some stupid stuff. where we have to like hold on to our memory owners. We're doing some stupid stuff for C#. But I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be cool to have my own ECS for this game. I wish I knew C++ better, and I could just write this in C++. But I'm deeply uncomfortable. I'm already running into issues because I haven't used C# in like over a year. And the version of C# that I'm used to is like really old. It's like whatever Unity supported last time I used Unity. So I'm still getting up to speed here. Okay, so where do we make our chunks? Where do we initialize our chunks? I don't even think we do that yet. So our chunk collections, when we make a new chunk, we just make an empty list of chunks. We get our max items per chunk. We must do this on the archetype that holds all the chunk collections. Yeah, okay, so when we make a new archetype, we figure out the size of our largest component, and we record that as our max items per chunk. So we at least have that information available. We aren't using it for anything. We also, the thing is, so I guess the component type needs to know its size. Okay, it does. The component type knows its size. It gets its size for whatever T that it's constructed with, for whatever type. Okay, so we can just reference the component type that's associated with the chunk. So maybe the chunk doesn't need to know its size, because the chunk collection knows what component type it's associated with, and we can just check the component type size. But how's everyone doing today? All right, so let's go back to our what we were actually currently doing, which is like here. So we were going through, we were grabbing each chunk collection in the old archetypes collections. This we can, well, we want our size. So we've got our size. We don't need to know this type. I am not convinced that this is useful, but we'll hold on to it for now. Because who cares? We don't need it here, though. We're also not going to get a span. How we're going to do this. So we can get our size, we can get our chunk. And we just need to copy the information over to the new archetype. So how do we know? We should have a dictionary that's like the component index, right? So we have our compositions. Our composition is just whatever component types we have. It's sorted, and that's the basis of the collections. So we need a lookup, or we could just find our component type in the composition and use that index. It's probably the easiest thing to do. Actually, we have the component type. Let's just get the index of that component type on the other collection. That's like a stupid way to do this, but it should be fine. We'll say that we'll call this source chunk. Call this component size. Comp size. Source chunk. Variable. Destination chunk is going to be, it's not chunk collection. It's going to be new archetype dot waddle bottle. Hey, welcome to the chat. Hey, Godot Pro, you're starting your dev journey. You're making a platformer. You're having animation scripting issues that maybe I could shed some light on. A strong maybe on that, because I'm not a huge Godot expert. I've only been using Godot about a year. But what are you using for your animation? You say you're doing it from scripting. Are you using like tweens? Are you using like animation player? Welcome in. I'll do what I can. Oh, sprites. You're doing sprites. And you have a paste bin. All right, that's probably fine. All right, what are you trying to do? All right, let me get rid of some of these ads here. All right, what are we doing? I love that I can't make the ad go away by like zooming in adequately. It's the crouch, idle, crouch, idle, and idle animations. Okay, so you're triggering sprite frames or sprite animations. You're triggering sprite. This is an animated sprite. Okay, so we got an animated sprite. We're playing animations. Okay. So when you crouch and then move, you crouch walk. Yeah, that makes sense. And then when you let go of crouch walk while still crouched, go to idle, then crouch again. It goes to crouch idle. Okay, so there's probably this if-else spaghetti happening here that is leading you astray. It's probably overkill for this, but if you're having some issue with the logic, you could use like state nodes, like nodes is state, just to make it very clear what state you're currently in. All right, so you're doing all of this in physics process. You're moving and sliding, cool. If is crouching, return. Is crouching is true. Crouching shape. Okay, so you're doing, this is all collider stuff. This is changing, okay, and this is changing. Function crouched, if is crouched, return, crouched true. Animate sprite 2D, play, crouch idle. Okay, this all looks fine. So this isn't happening where you want it to, which is you said while you let go of crouch walk while still crouched. So you're holding crouch down and you've stopped walking. Like you're holding S down, but you're no longer pressing A or D. And then you, I assume, let go of crouch, you go to idle, then you crouch again. It goes to crouch idle. You need it to go to crouch animation again. Mine's in the 70s. Okay, so your issue's around here. So if you're on the floor, if your direction 0, if you're crouching, if your prior animation state was crouch walk, or prior animation state was crouch idle, or prior animation state was crouch. So if you're crouch walking, crouch idling, or crouching, we do this. We just crouch idle. Okay. Otherwise, we go to crouch. So this gets you down into the crouch. This is what the crouch animation does, I'm presuming. This gets you into the crouch. So the is crouched is not being used. Okay, that's fine. So you hold S, then use D or A, then let go of D or A, then let go of S, then press S again. It goes to crouch idle. And so, I see. So you're exiting the crouch state and then re-entering the crouch state, and it's going straight into the idle. It's not animating down into the crouch. Okay, so you're representing the animation state here. You're representing the prior animation state here. So this is not happening, is what you're basically saying. Or I guess possibly this? No. If is crouching, if prior animation state idle. So this should be triggering it, right? Because what you're saying is you've entered the crouch state, but you were previously idling, so you should be hitting this. But you're not? Oh, no, there's an out of... This is for walking. Wait, are we doing code reviews? Yeah, we're trying to help Waddle Bottle with some animated sprite issue that he's got. Only with those conditions you described. Interesting, interesting. You have some things to submit for judgment. I mean, I'm happy to help. I'm honestly not super productive when I'm on stream. I'm kind of just trying to, build the community here. Okay. So we're interested in this if direction 0 branch, right? Because we're talking about you're idle and you enter and you're entering crouch again. So we're not considering this because this else is like you're moving, you're actively moving. So we can ignore this. We can ignore all of this because this is if you're floating in the air. Okay, so we're mainly interested in this chunk, seems to be. Does crouch, but doesn't with those conditions. Interesting, interesting. So your issue is that you were crouching, you go to idle, and then you want to go back to crouching, and it skips straight to crouch idle. It doesn't play this crouch animation. So this is crouching. Where are we setting that? Here, under crouch. Okay, so we have a crouching and a crouched. Those are different. Crouch, okay. Okay, we're correctly setting his crouching to be false when we stand. Only if you go to crouch walk, then crouch idle, then back again. It goes to crouch idle, not crouch. Yeah, okay, I get that. So that's the problem. All right. So you go from walk to idle, from crouch walk to crouch idle, then idle, and then you try to go back to crouch. It goes straight to crouch idle. It does not play this animation. This is the problem. I mean, I'm inclined to suggest that your prior animation state is not being set correctly. That would be my inclination. That's kind of the only way that you end up here instead of here. So where is prior animation state being set? Just at the end of the frame somewhere? If animated sprite 2D.animation is not the same as target animation, prior animation state is this. Okay, so this is where we're handling the playing the... How's the back today? Go state machine with a match statement. Yeah, I agree, Fox. I think having a node-based state machine here would be pretty easy and would probably be a little easier to handle, but also this is fine. Yeah, Doodliest Catch the back is better. Thank you. How are you doing? If you go to crouch walk to idle, then walk normally, then press S again, it goes to crouch, which works. Okay, so you crouch walk to idle, then walk normally, then so if your state was in walk, it does correctly. I presume you're getting into idle. So you were in idle and you're not going to crouch. Well, how you got it to semi-work, you put prior animation state as crouch, then go to crouch idle. Yeah, okay. Interesting. It's interesting. Cause this other issue you're having? Okay. Before it had a different issue, that is the way. That is the way. So all of your walking is handled here. It's FTL. You might have asked before. Hey, Aria. FTL is FTL faster than light. It's a fairly well-known game. Is it on sale right now? No, it's not. Okay. But it's a starship simulator. About commanding a spaceship. We're trying to make a kind of isometric version of it. Kind of a more isometric 3D version. It's kind of what I'm interested in doing here. It's a classic. Yeah, it is. It truly is a classic. But right now we're trying to help Waddle Bottle with Rouge-like branching path game. Yeah. Isometric. Yeah, it's not exactly isometric. I call it isometric because people get it, but it's like more side on, which has presented interesting challenges. All right. So this is interesting because what you're telling me is that if you're walking normally and then you press crouch, it does this correctly. And that's because you're walking. I presume you have a direction. So while you're walking, you have a direction. And you hit this crouch button. So crouch sets is crouching to be true. And then here, the direction is not 0, so we go into this branch. And then is crouching is fine. So prior animation state is not idle, it's walk, but that's weird. You're doing a hexagonal isometric game at the moment. That's very cool, Aria. I don't remember if you're in the Discord. I feel like you are, but if you're not, I would love to see progress you're making on your game. What are you fixing? We're trying to help Waddle Bottle with a branching animation thing that he's dealing with, which I honestly think you would be well served to use a state machine. It's like kind of overkill for what you're trying to do, but it will also make resolving these issues easier. Because like Fox Shadow said, you could just have a match statement. Or use a auto translate. Okay. This is interesting to me. Like one animation, but swap the animation. Okay. So this goes in. This is supposed to go into crouch walk, which it seems like maybe is not the problem. You're actually. I guess we're presuming that the direction is 0. And we go into the crouch, which sets his crouching. So if it's 0, our prior animation from before. So our prior animation. Here's my thought. Is I think your prior animation state is like multiple states behind because it's being set way at the end of the frame. Like your prior state. So when you start walking or when you start idling. Your prior animation state is walking, and then you try to go into a crouch, and it uses the prior animation state walk, and then updates the prior animation state to crouch. So I think you're like skipping animation states when you're doing this because of the order in which you're processing input, transitioning the animation, and then setting the prior animation state. That's like a feeling that I have is that your prior animation state is out of date. I would probably do something where I'd query the actual state of the animation earlier on to know like where I'm at, whether the animation is actually playing or not. Yeah, Godot has a state machine built in. Yeah, I think Waddle Bottle. I think you'd be well served to transition to this state machine. Oh, I have looked at this. I think you've shown me this, Aria. Maybe not. You published it 5 days ago. I feel like you've shown me a game. Please don't be incredibly loud. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is super cute. I think you've shown me some of the art. Yeah, I mean, I tried. I'm not going to lie. Oh, hi, Kato. Welcome to the YouTube. We're checking out a community member's game at the moment here. Yeah, I admittedly tried WASD first, but when that didn't work, my instinct was to middle mouse button down. I don't know if everyone's instinct is to middle mouse button down. Oh, I love that rolling the dice animation. Okay, now that I've rolled the dice, I can move that many steps. It's pretty cute. Cat. This is my character, and I'm not sure what I'm trying to do, but I'm moving around, I'm rolling dice. Everyone's got little farms. Not everyone. This little owl has like trees. It's like candy-coated trees. Yeah, the game you showed me was very different than this. It was like free movement, walking around. This is pretty good. This is pretty cool. Yeah, sorry weren't able to identify an exact problem, Waddle Bottle, but that's my suspicion, is that your prior animation state is not being tracked accurately, and it's causing the branch the branch to, you know, you're getting into the wrong branch. Not coded convos yet. It was just super hard to make hex grid A star. Oh, I bet. Hex grids are not trivial. I've done some hex grid stuff. I can't get into their stuff. That's cute. That's super cute. Yeah, definitely keep us up to date on that. It needs more explosions. Fox Shadow thinks there should be more explosions. Oh, Kato, you were here last time. You changed your username. Oh, welcome back. Oh yeah, Waddle. Aria would be interested in helping if you can paste the paste bin back. Put the paste bin in the chat again. I don't think they were here when you first shared it. So what we're doing today, for anyone that's come in, since you know, we're not actually being productive, or we weren't being productive for a bit here, we are attempting to move all of the component data associated with an entity from one archetype to another without knowing what that data is. Because the only thing we know in this add component function is the type of the component that we're trying to add. But we need to move the component data of all of its other components at the same time. And we're going to attempt to do this by abusing the fact that the chunk memory is just in bytes, and we reinterpret it to the actual type it is. Yeah, I don't think we need item size in the chunk. We probably should have it, but I would like to have as little stored in the chunk as possible here. I don't even like having the item count stored here, honestly. Honestly, maybe chunk should just be a buffer. So we know max items per chunk. Oh, no. Each chunk does need to know how many items have been stored in it. Doesn't need to know the size, though. The chunk knows the size. Or the chunk collection, sorry. I need a better word for this. But the list, basically the chunk collection holds the list of chunks, and it knows what size each element is. Chunk doesn't really need to know that. It just needs to know how many elements it has in it. It's fine to be not productive now and then. Yeah, true. Yeah, the naming is terrible. The naming is terrible and confusing. I don't like doing the thing where I have chunk and then chunks. I've done that in the past where I would just name this chunks. So I'm naming it a chunk collection because it's a collection of chunks, but maybe we'll call it component chunks or something like that. Because it's all the chunks for a given component on an archetype. So maybe component chunks is good. But anyway, we're gonna try to move the data around just with the underlying bytes as a way to abuse the fact that we don't know what type this chunk represents when we're trying to move it around. Which I think is lucky. So we'll have the source chunk. We know the component size, which I probably don't need to put this as a variable, but I'm gonna do it just so I know what I'm working with right now. Even used chunks in a hot while. Yeah, I could have not. I could have started out by just using a list and avoided using chunks, but I want to try to do this properly. So we're going to have chunks. It would have been easier to just have a list of all the components and just not cared. But if we're doing that, we're kind of, you know, we're not really getting the full use of our ECS. All right, so the destination chunk is the new archetype. Collections. Oh, we need a new way of picking a destination chunk. Oh, that would just be the last chunk. It would just be the last chunk in the collection. NanoDev just gave me a shout out to 16 viewers. Okay. Thanks, NanoDev. We'll see what that's about. Maybe we have a rating coming. Maybe he's just mentioning me. I'm gonna have a quick snack while we wait and see what happens. Oh, shoot. We got a raid. Repel borders. Raise the shields. This is a sorcery story raid. Hi, sorcery story. Halt, hand over your Godots. You'll never take them. They'll never take me alive. Atrissa licks the shields. All right. You bring the best raiders, sorcery, every time. Hello, hello. How's it going, sorcery? How was your stream? Now you have two of my stream open? Well, now you're hearing me in stereo. Tempted to quote a Cars song about moving in stereo, but that would date me. You were called best and not special. That's a win. All right. Well, let's talk. Let's hear. Let me share for the raiders what we're working on. How's the stream? How's the stream, sorcery? We're working on Rhiannon Journey. Thank you for the follow. We're working on an FTL-like kind of game that's like an isometric variant of FTL where you're like a starship captain. We're pretty early days yet. We're pretty much just working on tools and frameworks. We're working on the underlying stuff. We don't have a lot in the way of anything, but what we do have is a tool that we've been working on. Doing good. Huge refactor today, and it's not done yet. Oh, it's never done. The huge refactor leads to another refactor and then requires a new feature, which then you got to do a refactor to accommodate the new feature. You finally got a chance to raid me for a change. I know, I'm on a later schedule now. I'm streaming a little later, which is exciting. So here's kind of the thing that we've got on the Godot side so far, which is we made our own custom auto tiler, which we can use to build out little rooms. We also have a flood filler that can tell whether these rooms are compartmentalized. You can kind of see, like if it's exposed to space, it's this one color, and then if it's a sealed compartment, it changes color. This is so we can implement like FTL style, like explosive decompartmentalization, like someone opens a door, vents everything onto space. So we've got an auto tiler because this is all being handled with tile maps. We can even auto tile doors, which is kind of fancy. So we can have single doors, double doors, eventually triple doors. We're doing all this stuff. So because we're isometric, we've got kind of a layered approach to things. We can also rotate our tile map, which I can demonstrate here. So we can redraw our tile map from whichever camera angle we want, which is pretty fancy. Go up or down. You started as a let's add culture to your settlements, and you had to rework your whole item system to accommodate. Oh yeah, multi-layered ships. Yeah, we're kind of doing the 3D chess of FTL, and I'm a little afraid. Yeah, FTL. I can share a little bit about FTL. since there's not much more to this auto tile system right now. But it's the framework that we're going to use for building our ships. And I'm pretty happy with that so far. FTL is FTL faster than light. I love it's one of the only games that has its acronym in the title, because its full name is FTL faster than light. It's a Starship Simulator game by Subset Games, the makers of Into the Breach, stuff like that. You love the bridge room? Yeah, thank you. That's kind of the only piece of like style guide concept art that I knocked up, and I knocked it up a year ago, which is kind of scary. Like, I've been so immersed in the programming that I haven't really gotten back to the art in a big way. But yeah, you manage your crew, you manage your systems, their power distribution. For my version, I'm very excited to have isometric, to have 3D crew movement. And I'm also excited, I think I'm actually going to have like, you're actually going to need to like pathfind the power through the ship. So like if a wall gets destroyed, you'll need to like reroute power around. So you'll be mainly controlling the positioning of crew and the routes that power is taking through your ship. So I think that'll be kind of cool and very Star Trek, because they're constantly rerouting power from systems to other systems. We have some new art ready to go. FTL has eaten months of your life. It's not even funny. Yeah, same. We're definitely taking some inspiration from Into the Breach because of the isometric 3D part too, but it's pretty much all FTL. But yeah, we have some new... I worked out some dynamics of slopes for the different pieces, as well as how to make miniaturized versions of it. So I can't accommodate this with the current system, which is part of the reason why we're doing a big refactor, a huge refactor in C#. Slopes, I know. I'm scared about doing the curved versions. But yeah, we've kind of split our system, our framework into two things. We're kind of looking at, this is kind of how I'm imagining this working. Is like, so we have the Godot stuff, like we have like an auto loader, like maybe the input handler or something like that. And then we have the root of our scene tree, which will be this like game manager kind of thing. And this is the stuff that's in Godot. And then we'll have all the game state over in C# land, kind of agnostic about Godot. Like maybe, like, and this is where I've learned a lot from Sorcery Story, who's been my C# sensei for a lot of this stuff. We'll get our state manager, we'll determine our state. I'm probably gonna borrow your idea of like a state stack. We'll figure out which managers need to run, whatever. This is just an example. We'll eventually get down to like a scene manager, which will take all of this, synthesize all of this information, and then add or remove or update things in the scene. And then those things in the scene, which are like renderable or UI pickable or whatever, they'll feed their inputs back to the input handler, and we can start the process all again, where the input handler heads the inputs, the game manager, etc., flows all through. That's kind of the flow we're looking at. And we're using kind of an entity component system to organize this information, because the consequence of this is that most of our game data is not node-based or resource-based. It kind of exists only in C# land, so we're going to end up using an entity component system for this, where, we've got our entities that are made up of components. A component might reference another entity so that we can, like, this entity might be the parent of this entity or child of or whatever, so we can represent that relationship with a component. And that entity has, its own components. So we're heading in that direction of an ECS, just as a way to organize everything, which is probably overkill, but I don't know. I kind of want to eventually be able to simulate like half a dozen of these ships at the same time, and I'm a little skeptical of doing that, just in the scene tree, just with nodes and everything. So we're kind of heading in this direction. So we've kind of gotten to... And feel free to, raid and run sorcery. I'm kind of just trying to give give everyone an idea of where we're at now. We're working on the ECS in here, and we're kind of working on moving components around. And at the moment, we're working on a way to kind of abuse the fact that all chunk data is just stored as bytes and then gets reinterpreted by the collection that holds those chunks, because the collection is type specific. So you'll have like a chunk that's full of positions or directions or whatever. You'll have a collection of all those. And right now we need a way of transferring entity data from one collection, from one chunk to another, from one archetype to another, without knowing what that data is. So we're going to try doing that. It's a little crazy to be doing in C#, but no, you're chilling for a bit. Dinner needs to get done. You're kind of winding down a bit, for sure. Oh, hey, Scott. How's it going? Welcome to chat. Kind of giving a bit of an overview for the lovely Sorcery Story and their community here, who were so kind to rate us. Yeah, we're managing memory in C# a little bit, which is... It's a struggle. It's a struggle to choose, to willingly choose to do that, to manage, to be like, I'm going to manage memory and I'm going to use C#. I'm going to manage my own memory. Luckily, we don't necessarily have to go off the deep end because we're using memory and span. And memory and span are super great in that they don't really care what the underlying data is that you're going into. So like the chunks are made of memory of a byte. And then the chunk collection, who knows what type it is, can just be like, give me a span of this type. And you can just do that. You can just recast the chunks, the memories that are just collections of bytes, into their type. And we can operate them, operate on them, you know, in place as, you know, as their data. In struct form, and like this is a position or this is a direction or stuff. But now we need a process to be able to, if we don't know what type it is, like if we're copying over all of an entity's data, like if we add a component and we need to move the entity to a new archetype, we need to be able to copy all the data over without knowing. So I'm approaching that now. That's the present moment. That's what we're dealing with. The music is appropriately dramatic. All right, so we need to define our destination chunk, which is our new archetype. Our new archetype.collections. We need to get into our collections. We need to pick the collection that corresponds to this component type. So we need to say, so maybe we just save this. We don't necessarily need to like store a local variable for this thing, but I'm just going to do it because it makes it a little more compact as I'm working it out. But if we don't really care, we'll just get rid of it. So we need to know, so we've got our collection, so we need to know the index of the collection, or the index of this comp type in this collection. So this is pretty funny. So we're going to say this, and we're going to say new archetype dot collections dot index of. Is there an easier way to do that? The C# array. It seems kind of silly to index into a collection by its index of. Can I just get the value? Is that a thing that I can do? Oh, it's not comp type. It's literally this. Does that not work? How are these things indexed? Or what do these things contain? They contain component types, right? Not IDs? Yeah, component types. It's an array of a component type. Oh, this is the composition. Ah, right. I remember what I'm doing. So we index into the collection by the composition, by the index of the this in the composition. Oh, do we not have an index of for this? We have a contains. Got the first. I guess that's fine. These are all link functions, aren't they? What is this? Oh, it's a struct. We need to say composition.component types. Index of comp type. Ooh. Why doesn't that work? Oh, this is a function. I say. Oh, oops. I misunderstood how this function gets called. It's array.index of, isn't it? And then I pass in the array and this. Right? Are you like me, always avoiding link like the plague? Yes, I am. Bad habits from the Unity days. Tuner nerds, this code is way too sharp for me. Tuner nerds. Everyone go check out Tuner Nerd's new game. Mr. Iliad looking sharp too? Wow, you're too kind. They just came out with their game. Super Cat Cafe. It's incredible. I have it installed on my Steam Deck, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the moment when I have some time to just settle down and play all of Super Cat Cafe in like one sitting. Okay, but yeah, I'm deathly afraid of Link Sorcery Story. It's so slow, and like it looks good when I write it. It looks so cool when I write it, and then you're like, why is this so slow? And you're like, oh, because it's just giving me it's like this deferred object. It's like the opposite of the principles behind even using an ECS, which is like bare metal, everything, you're working on everything in place. Like, yeah, you did it. You can't believe it. I can believe it. How goes the project? The project, it goes. We're still working on the ECS. We're doing some crazy dark magic here. We're trying to move data around in our chunks as bytes without knowing the underlying struct type. Only knowing the size of the struct in the chunk. Cannot resolve this method. Candidates are system.array object or index of component type, array component type to class array. Oh, can I just fix it by just saying this? Oh, I think I just need to say this. There we go. I forgot that the composition just stores an array of component types. It isn't. Can't wait to have some time during the weekend to play Super Cat Cafe. Exactly. I'm waiting. I am stoked and waiting. So sorry for that large apple crunch. I didn't think it was gonna be loud, and then I was watching the mixer as I ate this apple. You're just gonna enjoy the IDE colors. Yeah. This is the Nightfall. This is the Nightfall theme. I don't know, Tuner Nerds. I spent a year just using the Godot IDE because I really enjoy it, and it's like this cute little IDE. But going back to like the big boy, like real IDE with like autocomplete and like all this insane stuff, and like tooltip type definitions and all this stuff. It's hard to believe that I managed for so long. Oh, we're in ads. We're in ads. I'm gonna take a 2-minute break here so I can eat some more of my snack. We'll be right back. 2 minutes. All right, we're back. Yeah, Bernardo, join us. Join us. Rider has surprisingly good GD script support now too. Kind of cool. Like you don't normally use it for that, but it's like pretty decent. All right, let's rearrange this a little bit to be less insane. Variable comp. Oh, we don't need to store comp size. We'll just say comp type.comp size. All right, so we are identifying the chunk. This is a fine thing to do, this index of. Archetypes are only going to have like 5 to 10 components at the most or something like that. It's going to be like a small number. I think that's fine. So we identify so we've got our source chunk, we've got our destination chunk, and now we need to move the information over from one to the other. Well, so we've identified the collection, not the chunk, I guess, here. So we need to say collections. We need to get the last one. We just need to get the last one. We don't really care. Well, we're going to need a system. It's time to tackle dinner. You'll leave a lurk. Thank you. Thank you, Sorcery Story. We need to decide how we're going to handle this chunk thing. I think obviously the smart thing to do is to maintain no gaps. So that if you remove something from a chunk, you just take the last thing in the last chunk and fill in the spot. I think that's the way to do it. You just took the last bite of dinner? The balance? Yeah. I was talking to the Godot founder, Juan Lenetsky, who lives in Spain, which is, you know, next door to Portugal. He says everyone eats dinner in Spain so late. Is that not true in England? I don't know how late it is over there. I'm pretty sure it's pretty late over there for you as well. But maybe not. Daylight savings time kind of messes me up. The same in Portugal. In England, you eat early? Yeah, all right. Get it out of the way. Yeah, we eat pretty early in America as well. Like, I'm always shocked when someone's like, oh yeah, we'll have dinner around like 9 or something like that. 10. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm asleep by 10. All right, so we need to get our destination chunk. So we've identified our collection. Do we need... I guess we need to hold on to the collection, because what if the chunk is full? If the chunk gets full, should we just preemptively create a new chunk? Probably not. We probably don't want to just keep an empty chunk around. We should probably encapsulate this function in the chunk collection, have like a static function. Oh, it can't be static, can it? Because it's chunk collection T to chunk collection T. Oh, no, we could totally... Yeah, we'll probably encapsulate this as a chunk collection function of like move data from one chunk collection to another. Because we don't actually need to know what type it is to do this. That's the whole point. But let's just write it out here, and then we can decide if we want to encapsulate it. So this is actually the destination collection. This is the collection. Call it old collection to keep with our naming convention. Old collection, and then we'll say new collection. New collection. Agreed, 10 is bedtime, truly. I believe the main reason is hotter regions will wait longer for the temperature to go down and eat and go to sleep. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I live in San Francisco, which is like... It stays like cold throughout most of summer. We get like very little warm weather here. So I don't have that problem. We have like a 10-degree swing during the day at most, and that's Fahrenheit. Like that's like a very low temperature change. All right, so we've got our new collection. And then our destination chunk is going to be maybe we just make this a function that's on the collection, just like a get last chunk or something like that. Maybe we just have an add and remove function on the collection, and we just hide that information here. Oh, the chunk collection knows its type. So maybe we don't actually need to do this bullshit. Rhiannon Journey, you grew up eating dinner at 6 p.m. sharp every day. Now you eat dinner anywhere between 7 p.m. and midnight. Freedom. You tend to get sucked into projects and forget to eat. Yeah. I know people who are like that. I try to do my work early in the day because I really struggle to work at night. Like my eyes just stop working at a certain time of night. Like my eyes dry out and I just can't be at the computer anymore after like 8 or 9. It's weird. It's kind of like it's like kind of the choices made for me biologically. All right, I'm really waffling about how I want to do this because I don't want to just grab the last chunk. Because what if the last chunk is full? Then we need to ask the collection to make a new chunk and to give us the empty chunk. So I almost think we just need to have an add component and a remove component function on the class. Let's do that. This might not actually need to be abstract, does it? Because it doesn't, the type specifically doesn't matter. Although we know for sure it's going to go from the same type to the Oh, maybe we can abuse that. Yeah, maybe we can abuse that. Let's say public abstract. Oh, these are properties. I need to put the voids after. Public abstract void add component. So what do we don't need to implement this because it's abstract. I don't know about ordering. I'm just gonna put all the abstract ones first before this get enumerator. I don't know about keyword ordering. I also don't know if I care. Okay, so we're gonna have an add component and a remove component function on our chunk collections. And then we'll implement them here. Look at the power. Look at the power of this, Barnardo. I can just be like, implement my functions. Oh, and it puts them in the right place too. Look at that. So easy. I missed your, with my new work schedule, I unfortunately missed your streams Monday and Tuesday. I wish I had been there for the launch. But what are you doing now? Are you just resting on your laurels a bit, or do you have like an insane list of updates to make for like the first patch? My recommendation would be do nothing for a while, but you got good momentum. I saw your reviews are coming in really good. They're really solid. Cage58, thank you for the follow. I'm sure it's the pressure is on to like maintain that momentum and to like fix anything that comes up that's even possibly interpreted as negative. All right, so add component can actually be T specific, can't it? Because we actually can do this, can't we? Cannot we? Oh, we can't do that because, can we do this? T value. Can we not do that because it doesn't fit the override? Okay, maybe we can't abuse this. Okay. Maybe we can't do it. I was thinking of a way to abuse this function here. We can't do that because because then we're not overriding the base function, which doesn't expect a type. That's unfortunate. Can we do that? Oh, we can just do this? Okay, what's this? Type parameter T has the same type of... Oh, so I don't even need to bother with that. Oh, no, but I do because... What I need to do is say this. T component. There's no suitable method to override. Oh, because there's no parameter. Oh, we just fixed that. So we're not actually overwriting this, are we? Well, we need to because we need to know what type we are. We're taking the weekend easy, then back to the grind. Some little fixes to do, then just adding more. They want more. More? They want more? Like Oliver Twist. That's how I envision game players. All right, so we know our component. So we got our component. We also need... Okay, we don't... So how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? The way we abuse this is by passing in the chunk, right? No, we can't do that because that's the whole thing we're saying is we just pass in a collection. Or maybe an entity ID? Well, we definitely need to pass in the entity ID. So we need to know where we're putting this. So we pass in the entity ID. I like how this is warning me that I don't need to do this, but we definitely do, or we're not fulfilling the requirement for the override. I'm just gonna... Compiler warning. Yeah, I'm gonna disable with a pragma here. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Maybe I will. We'll see how I get. The only thing I really hate about these IDEs is sometimes they're very opinionated about what you should be doing. Like here, there's a green one for the for each, and it's like, just use link. Come on, buddy, use link. Turn this into a link expression. And I'm like, I do not want to. Leave me alone. I mean, I could just disable this in the inspection severity. I could just be like, do not tell me about link. But I'm curious to see its suggestions. So occasionally I'll click it and I'll be like, huh. So I'm not quite ready to just blind myself to it. But I'm probably going to get there eventually. Okay, so if we add a component to a chunk collection, do we just pass it to the archetype? Is this an archetype function? No, because the archetype has this add we're in add component right now. Oh no, we're in add component in the world. So the world is saying add this component. So is it easiest to just maybe put a function on the archetype and just keep kind of drilling down instead of just going directly into the composition? I guess it doesn't matter. We'll see. Let's just do it here. Let's just do it here at the top level, and then we'll see how we want to do it. So we get our new collection. We want to tell the new collection to add this component. Add component is not the most performance intensive thing we can do because it's not going to happen that often. So we don't have to worry about it that much. So I think it's okay if we end up just passing these classes around to each other. This isn't like set component, which is going to be like operating straight on the span from the chunk, like with like ref structs. So like we don't copy anything. We're just like, here's the memory, change the memory, like right there. Change the value of that struct in place. This isn't quite that hardcore yet. So we've got a component we want to add. We've got the entity that we want to add it to. I guess we're not adding component, are we? We're adding an entity. Oh no, we are adding components. So we do need to call this for each chunk collection. So I guess we're gonna have an add chunk, probably like a private add chunk. Probably gonna have like a private void add chunk. Oh, the memory owners. The memory owners. Yeah, we just add the memory owners here. Where else are we storing the memory owners? On the archetype? We are. I don't think we need to do that. I think the chunk collection can manage itself. I question this. I question putting the memory owners on the archetype. The idea of doing that was that the archetype we would create and delete archetypes as we need them. Now I'm thinking archetypes just live forever as once they've been created. Which is a little stupid because it means like we would check empty archetypes. So maybe that's not the way to do it. But let's not worry about that right now. Our rallying cry. Waddle Bottle, you exported to itch.io for me to look at, but when you exported it, you found another bug. You can see and get the gist of it. Waddle Bottle, thank you for the follow. All right, let's see what you got. No web build. Possible to get a web build. We'd be happy to coach you through how to make a web build. I just haven't secured my machine to like protect me in the case of like, you know, malicious downloads. It's nothing personal. You seem like a real person and like not the kind of person that would send me a virus. But a web build would be nice. You don't know how? All right. So you're in here. And you're going to export. Well, you need to add the web export. Would be the first step. Here, let me grab you the docs that explain how to do this. I swear there's something here for this. Compiling for the web. Is this right? This feels like this is the wrong area. Oh, this is for engine development. Do they really not just have like a web build thing here? Yeah, this is not what we want. Maybe it's under export. Oh, maybe it's there, exporting for the web. This is 4.3. Yeah, this is making it sound more complicated than it is. It's really not that complicated. But this is... I feel like they've lifted... Haven't they lifted the requirement for shared array buffer? If you select a single-threaded. Can't you not do that anymore? All right. So if we add a component, we want to know what component we're adding. We want to know the entity ID of the component. Okay, and if this is the case, we just say if chunks chunks dot length -1. This is really stupid. This is a stupid way to do this. Size list. The hell is the count? Okay. Use index from end expression. Okay. That seems cool. What is that? Chunks. Is there just a... Oh, we're just pushing. What are we... Well, we want to see... Here we go. We want to get the last chunks. Chunks. How do I get the last one? Find last. Is it this? Oh no, that requires no, we'll just give me the last one. Index. Last index of. Here we go. Search. No. Just give me the last chunk. Why is this hard? What's wrong with just saying chunks? Chunks dot count -1. Dot item count is less than max items per chunk. There we go. That's what we want. Okay, you show me what you want me to do. Oh, what the hell is this? Represents a type. Public read-only struct index. Represents a type that can be used to index a collection either from the beginning or the end. Oh, this is fascinating. What is this? There's so many new things, some new shiny things. All right, how do I use this? How do I do this end thing? I mean, it showed me how, but I'm interested. Creates an index from the end of a collection at a specific index position. What if it's the end of it? Why do I need to specify what the value is? Integer value, the index value from the end of a collection. So you pass this as a parameter and you get back an index object. Ah, okay. This. Okay, so it's literally this. What is the word for this cipher? What is this called? Okay, that's not... What is this thing called? Character names. Yeah, this. What is this called? I know when I would use it, I just don't know what it's typographically referred to as. Where is it? This. Caret. Oh, it's the caret. Okay. I feel like other things are called carets. It's also called the hat, the roof, or the house sign. That's kind of fun. Yeah, it's normally used to represent an exponent. Shorthand for control. Interesting. Don't confuse it with the circumflex accent. Okay, so we can use _1 to refer to the last index of an array. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Didn't know that. Looks wild. Okay, so if the index of the last chunk in the array is less than the max items per chunk, then we do the thing. We just move the chunk over. We move it over. We just add the component to the chunk. Otherwise, we make a new chunk. Yeah, else let's add the chunk and then do. Actually, we should do this the other way. We should do this. Add chunk. So we add the chunk and then we just get the thing again. That's like maybe not the most efficient way to do that. So we just grab that last chunk again. So we grab the last chunk and then we need to get the chunk within that. No. So we have our chunk and we've got our memory buffer. Oh, we'll need to make a new chunk if we do this. Because it's a struct, isn't it? Oh, we can just say chunk with. Okay, let's do that. So we'll say chunk. Say variable chunk is. We can't say this. We can't say T component, can we? Can we? We can't call this function, can we? Because we need to specify the type. Okay. So my desire to get around just moving the raw bytes is not going to work. Because the whole thing is we don't know T. Even though we are going from a chunk. Even though we're going from a collection of the same type to a new collection, an old collection of the same type to a new collection of the same type, we don't actually have the T available in this phase, in this loop. So we can't actually do this because it would require us to say something like new. We'd have to say new collection dot add component. If we make this a move component and we call it on the source, is that different? Yeah, we don't have the T here. Can we say, can we just pull the information out of the chunk? Humbum. Okay, we can do this. We're kind of abusing the generics here, but I want to. My leg is also in insignificant pain because I injured myself on Monday, so I cannot sit down for long periods of time, but it has made my leg the same leg that I injured, so there's probably more there going on there, but it's tremendously tired. And I'm just standing from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's very uncomfortable. Just kind of why I'm moving around a lot. But all right, we got this. We got this. Let's stay on track. Stay focused. Have a sip of water, maybe. just going to see if I can call this. So I can't really call this. So this thing, this T component, we're not doing this. I don't think. We could just pass it a chunk. Could just pass it a chunk. We would need to know the index of the chunk. But we do know that. We do know that. So we know the source chunk. Okay, let's try it this way. Let's try it this way. Let's say chunk. Let's say chunk. Chunk. We'll say source. We'll call this source chunk. And then this is dest chunk. And then so we've got the source chunk. Do we really need the entity ID? We probably need it for some purpose here. I don't know what that purpose would be. Maybe we don't. We don't actually track that. Oh, we need to put it in the entity chunk. There is a chunk for entities, isn't there? Oh, are we just putting that first? Is that just the first? Are we not going to have a separate chunk just for entities? I feel like I used to have that, and then maybe I changed my mind about that. But that's fine. That's fine. Let's not worry about that right now. Oh, that's on the archetype. The archetype has an entity chunk. I think that's weird, which is probably why I should change this name to component or component chunks. Change this class to component chunks to specify that we're only using it for components and not entities. All right, all right. So we're being silly here. We don't actually need to do any of this nonsense with the T stuff here. I've decided. So we've got chunk, source chunk. Got the entity ID. We also need the chunk index. Integer chunk index. This is the index within the chunk. I guess we should call this entity. I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna call that this. We're gonna call it this. Source index. Let's call it that. Let's call it that. This actually should probably return the indices of the entity and its new chunk, because we need to store that somewhere, right? We store that in the entity indices thing. Yeah, so this actually isn't a void. This is an abstract indices, which also I really probably want to rename. All right, let's not worry about remove component right now. Let's write add component, and then we'll write remove component. Also, add chunk maybe doesn't need to be a whole function. It probably should be, though. So we've got the entity ID, we've got the chunk that we know the entity is in, and we know the index of that entity. That's all the information we should need. Maybe we don't. I'm really hoping we don't need to actually pass stuff around in raw byte form. That's kind of why I'm going around out of my way here to put this on the chunk collection itself. Because it knows, the destination chunk knows its type, and assuming we don't mess it up, it can infer the type of the source. Because like that's the whole point of having, you know, one type per chunk collection. So that should be fine. So what we should be able to do all right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add this thing. We're gonna say variable source span is, can I just say read only source chunk? All right, all right. We might have a type safe way of doing this after all, which is beautiful. Could this be ref chunk, source chunk? I guess it doesn't matter. The chunk is on the heap. We don't care. It's just a reference. It's just a small struct that has a reference to a memory anyway. This is a reference to a contiguous block of memory, so we don't care about ref. You figured it out? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Waddle Bottle. Sorry I kind of left you hanging there. Scott, you got to head out. Great to catch the stream again, as always. Thank you, Scott. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you hanging out, co-working here with us. All right, Waddle Bottle, let's take a look at this. All right, we did it. We got the web build. Oh my God, this is adorable. This like tiled sky you've got going is pretty cool, but like the main character is the cutest thing ever. Oh, he moves. Oh, his little legs wiggle. Oh, and he squishes. Is jump not W? Okay, it's space. Oh, this animation is awesome. Is this all hand drawn? It's like super cute. Okay, so it looks like you figured out the looks like you figured out the state issued. But you said you have another bug? Yeah, it seems like it's doing the crouch animation every time. Oh, that's adorable. The little crouch walk, I love that. Oh no, it's not doing it, is it? So if I'm crouched and I go up and then I crouch again, it jumps straight to it. So run to crouch. Yeah, so if you're running, it does the transition correctly. I see that. But if you're crouch walking, or if you're crouch walking and then you try to do it, it doesn't work. So there's some issue. There's definitely an issue with your state management. Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah, it is really adorable, Rhiannon. I'm scrolling up for that paste bin. Oh, it's so far up. Oh, I can't scroll far enough. Hit me with the paste bin again, Waddle Bottle. I think I have an idea. I think I have an idea with what's wrong here. It's crazy how much easier it is to reason about when you see it moving than when it was just like a piece of unfamiliar code. Okay, yeah, I think I understand what's going on. So there it is. Okay, so here we go. So down here, so you see this? Take this out. So if your prior animation state was crouch walk, you're going straight to crouch idle. You're not going to crouch. And I think it's a symptom of a bigger problem, which is that I think your prior animation state is 2 states behind. Like, I think it's farther behind than you want it to be in terms of what it's tracking. You think you tried it? I would try it. I would try to get rid of this. Because if this is the problem, it should just go, the else catches every other state except crouch idle or crouch. It could also be this, because you're saying if prior animation state was crouch, go to crouch idle. You might be in crouch state for 1 frame only, because you're engaging the crouch frame. You're engaging the crouch state here, and as soon as you do that, if you're trying to crouch, I think it's jumping ahead to crouch idle. That's possible. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's not true. But yeah, your prior animation state is definitely the cause. That's really cute though. The animation is like the cutest thing ever. And I think I actually really like the mosaic background, like the little mosaic background tiles. The if crouched fixed another issue but added this issue. Yeah, I think we've nailed it. I think you're in the crouch state for a single frame and it's jumping ahead, so it's not letting the crouch animation finish. You think you're gonna add more mechanics and leave it for now? You could do something else where you could check to see if the animation is finished before transitioning the state, because right now you're driving state entirely from input. But I think you could add a check where you say, you know, if we're playing this crouch animation, we cannot move into the next state until that animation is finished playing. That's a good way of enforcing an animation to finish before changing the state. I don't think you're doing that currently. Sorry, I'm eating some trail mix and apples. That's my like poor man's snack. My it's supposed to be a pre-stream snack, but I was kind of late today. So, Waddle, if you look at animated sprite 2D, you can ask is playing. You can say if so if you add a check to say like if is crouching. So if we're in the is crouching state and if the animation is playing or the animated sprite player is playing, don't change state. Just continue in the is crouching state until it's done. I kind of wish there was a way to scrutinize. I guess you would say, how do you check to see what the current animation is? You could also use signals, but let's not go crazy. You can't scrutinize what the current animation is, can you? You must be able to do that, right? Oh, string name animation. So you could check is playing and you could check what the current animation is, but you don't need to do that. That was just for me. I was like, I swear you could tell what animation was playing. You just have to look at the property. All right. So we're adding a component. So we've got our old indices. And when we do this, we're going to get a new set of indices. Oh, we don't want to have that here, do we? We want to have something somewhere. We want to have something on here on the archetype. I think we want to tell the archetype to add the component. Because we have max items per chunk, and we could have current item count or something like that. So we could have a current item count and a max items per chunk. And if current item count divided by max items per chunk is 0, then we're full. And we need to add a new chunk. Because I want to get a set of indices back, a set of chunk indices back at the end of this, which is just what is our index in, like what chunk are we in and where are we at within the chunk. But I realize I don't need to get that from every single add component because we're going to do add component n number of times. So this add component should be a void. And then archetype should have an add component function. You like putting the overrides first or the regular? I don't know. C# keyword order. There is a convention. Oh, is override not on this list? I guess we don't care. I want to check style cop. Where's style cop? Here we go. I don't know if style cop gives a judgment on this. No, style cop does not have a ruling on this. I guess it's up to me to put overrides before or after. I don't know. Whatever. I'm still remembering how C# works, and I kind of just like organizing my code. I like knowing what the organization should be, but I guess it really doesn't matter. So this is going to be a public chunk indices add component. And it's going to be entity ID, entity ID. I don't love the idea of just calling the archetype version of this here. Maybe it should be something like move components. Maybe it should be this move component. But who do you call this on? Do you call it on the archetype that it's coming from or going to? Maybe we say something like move component to. Or move entity to. How about this? Move entity to. But that's not enough. I guess it is just add component, because we do need to send the component information. I don't love just doing it this way. But we do need to get chunk indices back out of it. Not sure how I want to do this. Let's keep going. Let's keep going and worrying about the chunk indices at the end. Because right now what we're trying to do is just move data from one chunk on another, from a source chunk to a destination chunk. So our source span is our read-only source chunk. And then our destination span is read-write destination chunk. And now we just need to copy information over. And then it's going to be up to someone. It's going to be someone's responsibility to fill in this information. Who's going to manage that? Because we want to keep everything tight. We want to keep all the component data tight. So if we pull component data out of the middle of a chunk, or not even the middle of a chunk, out of the middle of a list of chunks, as long as it's not at the end, we want to we want to take whatever's at the end and plug the hole. Because we want this all to be stored as compactly as possible. We don't want holes here. We got ads coming in a minute. I'll be here. I'm gonna hang out. I'm probably gonna eat a snack. Finish my snack while we're doing it. While we're getting hit by these ads for the next few minutes. But if I'm quiet, that's why. Hey, nodule. Nodule. Is it more like nodule, but with a J? Yeah, you're hitting here right during the ad break. All right, welcome back. I wanted to ask you if the first O is an ah sound or an O sound. Is it like nodule, like the word nodule, but with a J, or is it more like nojule? Is the second one? No, and then joule, joule, like the unit of energy. Okay, cool. No joule. Dope. Welcome in. How you been? It's been a minute. Oh, you picked that name because you're exhausted. That makes sense. I guess that answers how you're doing. All right. So all we really write here is destination span. Oh, so we need to know destination span, and the index in the destination span is going to be it's destination chunk dot item count -1. Oh no, it's just item count. So if item count is 0, we want to insert this in the first index, and if item count is 1, we insert it in index 1, which is the second index, because 0-based indexing is what we chose. I think last time you were working on your doors. How's the game coming along? Oh, so much has happened. We're building like an entire entity component system in C#. Come a long way from doors. It's kind of insane. I swear it's a good idea. I swear it was a good idea when I had it. All right, so destination span, destination chunk dot item count is source span. Then we say chunks is destination chunk with item count. Does this work? Why are you upset? A property without setter or inaccessible setter cannot be assigned to. Oh, does this not work the way I expect it to? I thought this makes a new struct. You just noticed my YouTube link is broken in the About panel. Oh, that's a good call. Let me see what's going on there. Oh, that's not what that should be. That's like that should have my static link. It's not a static link. That's like a actual link. Okay. I'll fix that. Thanks. No, you're right. You're probably right because it's like there is a link to my channel that's just like whatever / Digital Iliad. I'm not using that one. I was using like a specific link, and that specific link is probably not valid anymore. So how does the with thing work? Does it not work the way I expect it to? Making new structs using with C#. Beginning with C# 12. Where was this part? Hit me with the with. The with is not something that I can search. Beginning with C# 12 structs. Types can define a primary. No, that's not what I wanted. Where's the cool thing? Do I need to specify init? Or can I not do the cool thing that I want to do? Yeah, this thing. This with x equals 3. P1 with x equals 3. Do I need to just specify an init? Because that's a read-only struct. Yeah, I want to do this. So I cannot do this. Do I need to say this? Init. Init. Okay, so we are using that. Okay, we aren't currently using that here, so let's not. Okay, does that work now? Okay, I love this because I love being able to define a new, because we need to make a new struct whenever we change the item count. But I love being able to do desc chunk with item count is whatever. We can say this. Hey, full box. How does what with work? So like we've got this desc chunk. How's it going, full box, by the way? We've got this chunk. This chunk has like 2 fields. It has like a buffer. It has a reference to a memory buffer. And it has an item count. So like this code is adding an item to it. And so what I can do is I can say, so we pulled this destination chunk out of the chunks. We've added an item to it. And now I can say this chunks, I can reassign it back, but I can say, I can create a new struct saying desc chunk with item count is desc chunk item count plus 1. So this way it creates a new struct using desc chunk's current memory buffer, and it uses a new item count that I define. So it's kind of just a simple way of saving yourself some trouble of having to write the whole thing. It's probably the same under the hood, but kind of fun. Kind of a fun little language trick. To just be like, reuse the fields that I don't explicitly specify with width. Kind of fancy. Kind of a cool way to... You're not mutating structs, you're still able to use the read-only structs, but you're able to... You know, it's like you're mutating them. But you still got all the benefits of having them be read-only. Makes a copy and enter a new value in the struct. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yes. Which, you know, this probably doesn't need to be read-only, but... That's kind of what I default to. It's been so long since I've been able to work with structures after like a year of Godot. I just get too excited. Like I'm using like, well, not here, but I'm using like a read-only record structs in places. I love that. Oh, you need to override. You're overriding equals. You need to override a couple other things. You need to override your get hash code, don't you? Okay, whatever. Do we actually hash you? The chunk indices? We do, don't we? No, we don't. You're the value, not the key. We could actually put you in a hash set, huh? Not a dictionary. Because you include the entity ID, which is the key. Oh well. I'm getting distracted. You're distracting me. You need to learn way more of that. You want to switch to C# too. You feel like it would help you have cleaner code. I know. It wants me to switch. It wants me to put link in all the time. It's like, why use a for each when you could just turn this into a link expression? And I'm like, do not turn this into a link expression. It will look pretty and be slow. Like, but yeah, since I was a Unity person before, I don't know any of this new C# stuff. Like, back when I was using Unity, we didn't have a good modern version of .NET. So I didn't know any of these fancy new C# like 10, 11, 12 like features. Yeah, link slows stuff down because it doesn't actually resolve stuff ahead of time. It's like a just-in-time thing. So it's like, it gives you an object which it will fill with the correct values when you need it. And it's like horrible. There's like a lot of indirection involved with using a link expression, but it looks good in the IDE. Yeah, it has to do with delaying the results until you need it. So it gives you it's like it's a lot of indirection with objects and stuff. But how's it going? How's the boxing going? I lurk in your stream pretty much every morning. Full box. I don't always talk, but you're like my breakfast stream pretty much every morning lately. Lincoln Ready is okay, I guess, but not in process. Yeah, I would hesitate to use it in process. I would hesitate to use it in like hot paths for sure. Like here, it probably doesn't matter because this is a function that only runs when we add a component, so it like probably doesn't matter that much. Like I would never use a link expression in the set component because set would be run constantly. Like, but add is not so bad. All right. So we're slowly achieving our goals. We have this add component function. We didn't actually have to do the thing we were threatening to do, which was move memory around in pure byte form, which I'm really glad it seems like we're not going to have to do that because we're asking a chunk collection to copy, to move a component over, to add a component over into its collection. And it knows what type it is, so it knows what the source type is because we're smart and we match the source types. We match the types when we call this. So I was worried for a minute. We're doing a lot of abusive things with generic functions. But it's working out so far, he says, not having tested any of this code in weeks. Fullbox, how do you learn that kind of stuff except experience? I feel like that's such nitty gritty stuff. There's two choices. You learn it by experience or you read very opinionated Reddit posts. And you get a sense of who's bullshitting or not. I've been reading so many C# docs and articles and things, trying to remember how all this stuff works. All right, so we've copied the thing over from the source to the destination. And then what we're going to need to do is move stuff down. But we don't have to do that here. We need to clean up the source span. So we can probably do that in remove component. So I guess we write remove component now, huh? Do you know where your entities are? No, you don't. You could. You could. So if we if we say add component and pass in an entity ID, we could just look it up on the archetype. We could say, we would need to use the entity indices. Right now we're doing all of this stuff in the world. We're just doing it at the top level. But I feel like I'm going to encapsulate a lot of this functionality into the archetype and into the chunk collection, which I think we should just rename this. Let's rename chunk collection to component chunks. Yeah, maybe component chunks. That means all these chunks associated with a component. Or it's a set of chunks for a given component, something like that. Component chunks. I like that better, maybe. Thank you, IDE, for just renaming every reference to that. You don't like reading, you just want to make games. Hey, NanoDev. How's it going? I saw you earlier, you shouted me out, and I was like, what's happening? Why am I getting shouted out? I'm like, am I gonna get raided? And then Sorcery Story raided me a minute later, and I was like, oh wait, that's not NanoDev. It's like, shout it out because you're cool. Well, right back at you. Shout out NanoDev. You're cool. No, you're cool. Sorry, Foolbox. You're not cool enough. I had to choose one person to shout out. I need to get some bot shout outs so I can just like, everyone else has those where I could just be like !Foolbox and it could like share a link to your Steam page and stuff. I need to really get on top of my Twitch bot shit. I'm slacking. I added sound effects and I was like, this is all I need right now. All right, public override void remove component. So you pass add component to the destination. I don't like the workflow of this. It doesn't totally make sense. So well, it makes sense that you call add component on the destination and remove component on the source. So remove component doesn't need... Yeah, I guess this is fine for consistency. And then you call add component on the new one, and then you call remove component on the old one so that we can actually clean up. That's what we do. Oh, did we not actually use entity ID for any of this? That's super weird. I guess we could change this. I guess it's you either pass in the entity ID or you pass in the indexes. don't really need both. I guess we'll decide that eventually. Not Steam or exclamation mark Steam, exclamation mark commands, today, demo, jump. Best shout out you saw so far was even showing the best clip in stream of the person getting shout out. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know who has that. I've seen some people use that. I saw JD Does Dev use that. I saw... Who was I watching earlier? Bad Cop has that. Thank you, NanoDev, for the bits, by the way. Really appreciate that. Lynch has that, I think. Is there like a plugin that everyone's using? All my Twitch streamers in the chat, do you know this stuff? Your deposit was accepted. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Not sure, probably. Yeah, exactly. I think it just pulls a random clip from the streamer from Twitch, because I've had that pulled on me before, and my viewers usually clip me for like the stupidest things. Like that happened with JD, where JD pulled a clip of me, and it was me just shit talking Pretzel Rocks for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, I don't want this to be I don't want this to be the clip that's associated with me. Oh, we don't have an add chunk function. We probably should do that because we invoke it here. We can just have it be an expression. Can we not do that? Oh, we just did do this. I think there was a service, but it became flaky. I believe that. I'm super skeptical of plugins for that very reason. You're too fresh in streaming for that. No way, no Jewel. You stream? Let me give you the follow. What do you stream? All right, so if we want to add a chunk, what do? It's got to be really simple, right? We just... Oh, we have to allocate new memory. That's what we need to do. So yeah, I don't think we're going to do this at the archetype level, unless we decide to start cleaning up archetypes. For now, I feel like an archetype can just live, because if an archetype existed before, it'll probably exist again. Like, we're not going to have... Like, this made more sense when I had entities as components, so you had a lot of very unique compositions that might never come up again, but now we're not doing that, so I think we're going to say... So who actually does this? Who actually holds on to the memory? Do I actually have anything? We're only invoking you in dispose, huh? Yeah, so let's move this dispose down to the component chunks. Starting with game dev soon. Oh, you followed No Jewel for over a month. You've never seen them stream. Ah. You're starting with game dev soon after getting an application for a funding program finally done tomorrow. Oh man, get that money. Currently spending every free minute on a game pitch deck and application video. Oh, hell yeah. All right, Foolbox. Did you just clip me complaining about my previous clip? Hold on, you don't have the sound. Let me give you the sound for this. Thanks, Foolbox. You're kind of proving my point, though. But thanks. That pulled on me because I've had that pulled on me before, and my viewers usually clip me for like the stupidest things. Like that happened with JD, where JD pulled a clip of me, and it was me just shit talking Pretzel Rocks for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, I don't want this to be the I don't want this to be the clip that's associated with me. Touche. Touche, Foolbox, you got me. Clipception. Oh yeah, please don't anyone clip me watching my clip. You'll send it to JD now. Thanks. Yeah, I think he has a system. We should ask him what he uses. But I think he uses the same system as Bad Cop. Maybe it's a tool that the Claw has, because they're both on the same team. They're both in the Claw, so maybe they have some cool tech that they share. Wouldn't surprise me. All right, so we've added our dispose function, which is stupid. So we want to make you a disposable. Oh, we need to put this on the base, huh? We can actually just put this on the base class. All right, so we'll need to do that. If we start deleting chunks, we need to start cleaning up the memory. We don't need to. The memory is still technically backed by managed memory at the moment, but that might not always be the case. So I would like to defensively program this. It's not just you. Oh, what's your clip? Oh, it's Foolbox.
That's what's fun about coding. It's like, I think it's gonna work now. And then it doesn't work.
True. The words of wisdom. What a wise fool. Team war. We need to be a better team. Don't let Falonier hear that. Falonier does so much. All right, we're probably reaching the end here. Probably getting pretty close to the end. I still don't have the stamina to do like the 3 to 4 hour streams, especially since I hurt my back and I'm standing from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is like really tough for me, which is why I'm just doing this all the time. I need to get like a Stairmaster when I'm feeling better or something, like so I can strengthen. I don't know what Primogen has, but he's like I swear he's doing a Stairmaster thing while he's streaming, because he's always going up and down, but like on individual feet like this. So like, is he doing a spin class while he's streaming? Like, what is Primogen doing to stay fit? I want to know. I don't know. He's on a yoga ball. That's what he's doing. Okay, so he's just bouncing. He's not. Okay, all right. I've tried to find a yoga ball that would fit me, that would be comfortable to sit on like that. I've bought like more than one of them, and I can't find one that's the right size for me. There's a game jam coming in January, right? Oh, shoot. What do you mean there's a game jam coming in January? Like a team jam? Like... Mr. Elliptic has a treadmill. That's cool. That's cool. All right, all right. So for remove component, okay, so we know the index and we know the chunk that we're trying to get. There's the indie game dev team jam. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I didn't know that. You need at least one of the participant to be part of the team. Cool. Crystal Mess 323. How's it going? Welcome in. Red alert. We're getting raided. Thank you for the follow. You got us to the goal. You got us to our followers' goal. Confetti just is everywhere. I know you can't see it, but it's just, I have rigged up a confetti machine above, like it didn't, it's just dumped a ball of confetti over there. I'm so excited. Sorry. I'm not trying to do the Daria fake enthusiasm thing. I'm really excited. Yeah, welcome in, Raiders. Thank you for the raid, Crystal. How was your stream? How's it going? How do I not follow you? Let me give you the shout out, the obligatory shout out. Is the red alert sound effect too much? I know it plays for like 23 seconds. I enjoy it too much. January 17th to January 31st. All right, Fullbox. Let's. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best to sign up for that. I usually do solo jams, but if it's a 2-week jam like that, I probably can't do it solo. That's probably too much. Yeah, I got the deep cuts. That's awesome. Welcome in, Raiders. We're working on kind of like an FTL-like. We're working on kind of an isometric FTL-like style game. FTL Fast and Light. You heard Game Jam? No, Jewel? Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing about it. I'm hearing about an indie game developer jam, which is my stream team, and also Fullbox's stream team, and probably a lot of other people's stream team. Nano, are you in that stream team? Star Trek Command Room. Yeah, this is a proof of concept of like the art style. It's like a kind of side-on, sort of isometric, sort of side-on viewpoint. We have a little editor tool. We're still working on tools and frameworks and stuff. Like, it's still very early, even though I know this says it's episode 99. Also known as the last 2-digit episode that we'll ever have of this stream, which is insane. So we can kind of we have a tool here to make compartmental, so we can make an empty room that's like exposed to space and it doesn't look right. Or we can make like a compartment that is sealed, and you can kind of see that it's sealed because it has a roof. So we can make pressurized compartments. We have this auto tiler. We can handle doors, place stuff, and we can just build these structures. We can also rotate everything, which is pretty cool, I think. So if I wanted to seal this room off, I would need to do this, and then this. Got another sealed room. It's in the Discord. Okay. Wait, Fullbox, do we have a team Discord? Has there been a team Discord this whole time and nobody told me? Let me add a little airlock here. I'm gonna add a little airlock. So we can make little airlocks. Separate inside from outside. You don't want to just explode your crew out into space without airlocks. This is kind of what we're working on. It's a tool set so that we can eventually make these bigger ships. But right now, you basically can only make flying housing projects, so it's something we're working on. Yeah, please do. You never done a jam, Ashridin? You can't invite me. I'll need to ask Falinir. All right, I'll pop into Falinir stream. And I'll just be outraged. I'll be like, what? You didn't tell me that we had a stream, a team Discord? You didn't tell me that there was a game jam? I don't feel the leadership right now. Don't worry about it, Ashridin. There's some other game jams going on right now. There's a list of game jams. Check this out. Itch game jams. Check this out. Check this out. All right. I would highly recommend a game jam, Ashridin. I love them. I love short jams, personally. But here's a list. It's just itch.io/jams. And it just tells you all of the jams that are currently running and all the jams that are coming up. So, like, here are all of the jams that are starting. These are the ones that are currently going and ending, but there's so many jams. There's so many choices. Like, what's coming up now? RPG Maker's got a jam going. Solo Dev has a jam next month. They just announced it in December. There's so many jams. Yeah, I don't understand why it's private either. Fullbox, maybe it's not ready for prime time yet. But there's some really great jams, especially for beginners. Godot Wild is a cool jam. It's a pretty chill jam. I don't see it on here. We got some cozy jams. This is game dev. I wonder who's doing that. There's so many choices. There's like a Game Boy Color jam, game a month. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I would check out this list. Find a jam that's like pretty casual, that's got like a decent number of people in it. That's something you're interested in. One button jam, that seems fun. One button games. When is this? 22nd of this month? This is probably not us, is it? Indie Dev Game Jam 5. No. Yeah, there's so many dev game jams to choose from. I highly recommend doing it. I think it's a great exercise. Boss Rush 2025 is coming soon. That'll be a cool one. Yeah, hell yeah. Ash is working on a Game Boy library that beats Game Boy games with reinforcement learning. That is super cool. We have a Discord. If anyone wants to share their projects. Oh, man. Thank you, Org3, for the follow. The widget says that got us to our followers' goal again. Which is great. And wonderful to keep doing that. All right, well, I feel bad. I was wrapping up, but I feel like I need to keep going a little bit now. I can tell you what we're kind of working on right now. We're working on an ECS. If you need to... Ash has no time. Yeah, none of us have time. That's always what I told myself, though, with game jams. And sometimes it's true. Like when I did Ludum Dare in the spring, I spent like a month working on updates to my Ludum Game Dare jam, so I lost like a ton of development because I spent just a weekend on the game jam, and then I kept working on it for like... Actually, I think it was like 2 months. I kept working on like a improved version of it, which I still haven't finished. It's like 95% done, and I just haven't put it out there. And then I did another game jam over a weekend for the solo dev number 4 jam. Super proud of it. We made it in 72 hours. And I only lost a weekend to it. I didn't touch it at all. And so like I didn't really lose any development time from it. So I think it depends on post-launch support. I think that really decides whether you lose a lot of time or not. It's starting in 9 hours. Oh no, we're not doing a jam. We're in the stream team, Indie Game Devs, and they're doing a jam. Or are we talking about the Game Boy jam? I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Oh, the one I finished? Oh yeah, it's here. It's on my... I've got it on my itch here. It's called Mini Delivery. I submitted it 1 second before the deadline. It's download only, so like nobody plays it. I could play a little bit of it right now. That might be a fun way to end the stream. Because right now we're working on some entity component system stuff that I think we're kind of not going to make any more progress on. We figured out how to add a component. We need to remove it. Let me grab it. That seems like a fun way. This is a special stream. This is technically my 100th stream. Because it's stream 99 and I correctly started with 0. As one does. All right, where's the not zipped version of this? There it is. This is my first 3D game in Godot. We did this a couple months ago. Really enjoyed this. The one I'm proud of. Am I an array? Yeah. Aren't we all? I'm a list. I have a capacity for expansion. I don't have my controller. I'm just going to play it. But it's this little driving game where you play this little delivery vehicle and you drop packages off. And there's obstacles that you need to avoid. It's got a very retro aesthetic here. I am not playing the sound. Here we go. And I didn't make any of the art. These are all art assets. But like, I had never made a 3D game in Godot, and I say we. I refer to chat because I did it all on stream. But this was a solo dev jam. It ended up being made in 72 hours. Caveat being I didn't really sleep during this. You're a queue. You do all the tasks you have in the order that you receive them. It's problematic sometimes. I'm a stack. In that case, full box, I'm a stack. I'm very easily distracted. Yeah, we've got traffic. We've got like bystanders running around. And you're just supposed to go around the town here and just drop off all the packages. It's inspired by Wheelie Yellow, the amazing YouTube series, which has been blowing up. Don't crash into the cat. Don't crash into the cat. Ow! Wow, I didn't get killed by that. Lucky me. Pop on, pop off. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I'm way happier with this than my first jam. Oh, I died. Because the first jam I spent months on after the fact trying to improve it and stuff. And this is just imperfect, an imperfect little thing that just exists. And The only thing I did after the jam was add controller support. That's all I really did. This is all arts assets, though. I didn't make the art for this. It's thankfully a jam that you didn't have to make everything from scratch. Not like Ludum Dare. But yeah, make a jam. You actually don't know that you've got stuff in you. Like, when you make a jam, you don't... I think when you're just doing your work day to day, you don't realize your potential. Like, you don't realize how much you can do. Like, I didn't think I had this in me. And I certainly didn't think I could have done it in 3 days. And then it just kind of happened. You smashed everything and never died. Yeah, the collision logic is based on speed differential. So if you're like going fast and then you hit a brick wall, you die. Not a brick wall, but if you hit a obstacle, you die. But if you're going relatively slowly, the system's pretty forgiving. Crystal, you played your friend's game on stream the other day, so we can stay in touch and I'll play yours. Yeah, if you like. Yeah, no, let's definitely stay in touch. I haven't seen your streams. I actually don't even know what you're really working on. What kind of projects? I presume you're in Godot, because people pretty much stick pretty consistently. Oh, I died again. But yeah, that was good. Oh, you do AI stuff. Okay. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, well, I need to wrap up. I gotta do some laundry before I get back to work. Let's pick someone to raid. Let's pay it forward. Let's see if anyone on the team is streaming. Oh, a lot of people on the team are streaming. New Jank. Oh, Fern's streaming. We're gonna go hang out with Fern. Freshwater Fern. They're doing game dev, right? No, they're playing Rivals of Ether. Never mind. Oh, Otter Makes Games is streaming. We're gonna go hang out with Otter Makes Games. Yes, double raid. Pay it forward. I think everyone's gonna like Otter Makes Games. Oh, that's an invalid name. How do I spell? If his name starts with a 0, I'm gonna do something. Otter Make Games. Okay. Incorrect English. Otter Make Games. They're great. They're doing some really great stuff. They're a pro. Let's go surprise them. I think they're pretty new still. So I would get them into your rotation. They're great. Over on the YouTube side, thank you guys for hanging out. We're gonna wrap it up now. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate the raids today. Crystal Mess, Sorcery Story earlier. It's been great hanging out with everybody. Nano Dev, Foolbox. We'll be back tomorrow for episode 100. I don't think we're gonna do anything special for it, except maybe hopefully write stuff that works, which would be unique. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. It's gonna be our 100th episode. Well, it's gonna be episode 100. We count from 0. Yeah, there might be a triple raid coming up. You never know. It's fire. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, hanging out today. I know we're on a new schedule, but it seems to be working out for us. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the raid, and I'll see you next time. Bye.